The arena fell silent. 12,000 spectators held their breath as Krell the Unbroken stepped into the dueling circle. His forearms gleamed under the stadium lights, each massive limb ending in claws that had torn through opponents on 73 worlds. The Vraxian champion stood 9 feet tall, his exoskeleton decorated with victory marks that covered every inch of his torso. Each scar represented a kill. Each notch represented a species humbled. He had never lost. Not once in 416 duels spanning 2 decades. The crowd roared his name, a thunderous chant that shook the reinforced walls of Station Omega's Grand Coliseum. Vraxians, Keltorians, Zephids, and a dozen other species screamed themselves hoarse. Betting terminals flashed across the stadium as odds updated in real time. Krell's victory was considered so certain that gamblers could barely profit from backing him anymore. Then the human walked in. The cheering stuttered, confused. Jake Morrow looked ridiculous by comparison. 6 feet tall, lean, wearing a simple gray jacket over dark pants. His brown hair was messy, like he had just rolled out of bed. He carried a single sword in his right hand, the blade still sheathed. No armor. No enhancements. No cybernetic upgrades visible to the naked eye. He looked like someone who had wandered into the wrong building. Is this a joke? Ambassador Threx whispered from the VIP box, his tentacles curling in embarrassment. The Keltorian diplomat had organized this event to demonstrate humanity's place in the galactic hierarchy, which was, in his opinion, somewhere near the bottom. Where is his equipment? Where is his team? Where is his survival instinct? Humans are peculiar, replied Matriarch Silene, her crystalline features reflecting amusement. Perhaps he seeks a glorious death. Their species has an odd relationship with mortality. Or stupidity, Threx muttered. Down in the arena, Krell tilted his massive head, studying the human with all 6 of his compound eyes. His translator implant crackled to life, broadcasting his words across the stadium. You are the champion Earth sends? His voice was like grinding stone. This insults me. Jake yawned. Actually yawned. Sorry, long flight, he said, rolling his shoulders. Your station has terrible coffee, by the way. I mean, truly terrible. I've had battery acid that tasted better. The crowd gasped. Several species did not even have a concept for such disrespect. Krell's mandibles clicked in what might have been laughter or rage. Hard to tell with Vraxians. You mock me with your final words? How human. How predictable. Mock you. Jake scratched his chin thoughtfully. Nah, man. I'm just making conversation. You know, being friendly before we start. Although, between you and me, I'm pretty sure you're going to regret this whole thing in about 3 minutes. 3 minutes, Krell repeated slowly. You believe you will survive 3 minutes against me? Oh no, Jake said, smiling now. I believe you'll be on the ground in 3 minutes. Big difference. The arena erupted in laughter. Even the commentators could barely contain themselves. The human displays either legendary courage or legendary foolishness, declared Prox, the station's primary announcer. We shall soon discover which. Krell stopped laughing. His forearms spread wide, each one gripping a plasma blade that hummed to life with crackling blue energy. The weapons could cut through the starship hull plating. They had carved through opponents made of living metal, animated stone, and crystallized light. I will make your death last, Krell promised. So others of your species learn respect. Respect, Jake echoed, finally drawing his sword. The blade caught the light, simple steel gleaming like captured moonlight. That's funny, coming from someone who makes a living beating up people for entertainment. But sure, let's talk about respect. The referee, a floating orb of contained energy, pulsed once. The duel began. Krell moved first, faster than something his size should be able to move. His lower right arm swung in a horizontal arc meant to bisect the human at the waist. His upper left came down vertically, a killing blow designed to split Jake from crown to groin. His remaining 2 arms were positioned defensively, ready to counter any desperate attack. It was a perfect opening. Textbook Vraxian combat form. Inescapable. Jake was not there. He had moved sideways, just enough, letting both plasma blades pass through empty air where his body should have been. The displacement was minimal. Economic. He wasted no energy, no motion. Then his sword moved, so fast it seemed to teleport from one position to another. The tip scored a line across Krell's armor, right where two plates met. It was a scratch. Nothing more. But it was the first blood Krell had shed in 17 matches. The crowd went absolutely silent. "Ha," Jake said conversationally. "You're slower than I expected. The videos made you look quicker." Krell's roar shook the arena floor. All four arms became a whirlwind of plasma and fury, attacking from every angle simultaneously. High, low, diagonal, thrust, slash, the assault was overwhelming. A mathematical impossibility to defend against. Even the commentators fell quiet, unable to describe what they were witnessing. Jake's sword became a silver blur. He did not try to block the attacks. Instead, he redirected them. A slight angle here caused a plasma blade to slide past his shoulder. A quick pivot there made two of Krell's arms collide with each other. His footwork was mesmerizing, each step perfectly placed, his body flowing like water around obstacles. And every 3 or 4 exchanges, his sword would dart forward. Another scratch. Another line drawn across Krell's armor. Not deep enough to seriously wound, but deep enough to prove a point. The point being that Krell could not touch him. "This is impossible." Threx stood in the VIP box, his tentacles thrashing in agitation. Humans are not fast enough for this. They are not strong enough. Their reflexes are inferior to 70% of known species. Then perhaps, Silene mused, we measured the wrong attributes. 5 minutes into the duel, Krell was breathing heavily. His attacks had grown slightly slower, marginally less precise. Meanwhile, Jake looked like he was taking a casual stroll through a park. His breathing remained even. His expression stayed relaxed. "Getting tired?" Jake asked, ducking under a plasma blade. "Want to take a break? Grab some water? Maybe have a sit-down. I will rip you apart." Krell screamed. Yeah, heard that before. You guys all say the same stuff. Big, scary monsters always talk about ripping and tearing and crushing. Nobody ever threatens to mildly inconvenience someone. Where's the creativity?" Krell charged, abandoning technique for pure aggression. All four arms raised, preparing to bring every weapon down simultaneously in an attack that would obliterate whatever it touched. Jake stepped forward. Not backward. Forward. Into the attack. His sword moved 3 times. The first strike hit the joint of Krell's upper left arm. The second hit the corresponding joint on the upper right. The third, the fastest of all, drove straight into the gap where Krell's chest plates met. The plasma blades fell silent as Krell's arms went limp. He staggered, crashing to his knees. The sword had not killed him, but it had severed something important. His breathing came in ragged gasps. Jake stood over him, sword still ready. "Yield," he said quietly. "This doesn't have to end badly." Krell's mandibles worked soundlessly. His eyes, all 6 of them, stared up at the human in complete incomprehension. In 416 duels, no one had ever offered him mercy. No one had ever suggested he might walk away. Never, Krell rasped. "I am Vraxian. We do not yield. We do not surrender. We do not." "Yeah, I know the speech," Jake interrupted. "Look, big guy. I get it. Pride and honor and all that jazz. But here's the thing. You're beaten. Everyone in this stadium knows it. You know it. So you can either accept defeat gracefully, or I can put you down hard. Your choice, but make it quick. I have dinner reservations in 2 hours." Krell's claws scraped against the arena floor. For a long moment, the Vraxian champion remained frozen, every instinct screaming at him to fight, to die with honor rather than accept defeat. Then, slowly, impossibly, he bowed his head. "I yield," he whispered. The arena exploded. Not with cheers. With chaos. Half the crowd was screaming in celebration. The other half was screaming in fury. Betting terminals sparked and smoked as they tried to process the impossible outcome. Security drones descended from the ceiling, prepared for riots. In the VIP box, Threx had collapsed onto a cushion, his tentacles covering his face in horror. "We are ruined," he moaned. "The entire diplomatic summit is ruined. Earth was supposed to be humbled. Instead, they have humiliated our greatest champion." Silene's crystalline laughter rang like bells. "Oh, Ambassador. Can you not see? This is not humiliation. This is evolution. That human just taught us something profound. What? That they are lucky. No, Silene said, watching Jake help Krell to his feet. That perhaps we have been measuring strength incorrectly all along. Down in the arena, Jake sheathed his sword and offered Krell his hand. The Vraxian stared at it for a moment, then carefully placed one massive claw in the human's palm. How? Krell asked simply. How what? How did I win? No. How did you see my attacks? How did you move that fast? How did you know where to strike? Jake smiled. I didn't move that fast. You telegraphed every attack 3 moves in advance. Your upper arms are always positioned before your lower arms commit. Your footwork signals which direction you're about to strike. And your armor, while impressive, has 16 weak points. I only needed 3 of them. But no one has ever. No one ever looked, Jake corrected gently. They were too busy being terrified of you. Fear makes people sloppy. Makes them reactive instead of tactical. And you were not afraid? Jake shrugged. I mean, a little nervous, sure. You're huge and scary looking. But afraid? Nah. See, on Earth, we have this saying. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. And brother, you are very, very big. Krell made a sound that might have been laughter. I have underestimated your species. Most people do, Jake said. It's kind of our thing. The medical team arrived, checking Krell's injuries while the crowd slowly calmed down. Jake waved at the cameras, winked at the VIP box, and started walking toward the exit. A reporter drone intercepted him at the archway. Jake Morrow. Jake Morrow. How does it feel to be the first human to defeat a galactic champion in single combat? Honestly? I'm mostly thinking about those dinner reservations I mentioned. Do you know any good places that serve actual meat? Not a synthesized protein. Real meat. Medium rare. But surely this is a historic moment for your species. Sure, historic, great, love it. But I'm also hungry. These two things can both be true. The drone sensors flickered in confusion as Jake walked past, leaving the arena and its chaos behind him. Above, in the VIP box, Threk slowly raised his head. Perhaps we should reconsider Earth's position in the Alliance. Perhaps, Silene agreed, we should reconsider many things. 3 days later, Jake was still on Station Omega, still looking for decent food, and absolutely regretting not leaving immediately after the duel. Apparently, beating Krell the Unbroken had consequences. The first consequence was that every warrior, duelist, and combat enthusiast in the sector now wanted a piece of him. His hotel room had received 47 challenge requests, 3 assassination threats, and 1 marriage proposal from a species that reproduced through ritual combat. He declined them all, politely for the challenges, firmly for the threats, and very awkwardly for the proposal. The second consequence was that Earth's diplomatic stock had skyrocketed overnight. Ambassador Chun, the actual human representative to the Alliance, had sent him 6 messages ranging from grateful to panicked. Apparently, Jake's victory had created political complications that would take months to untangle. The third consequence was sitting across from him right now in a dingy station bar, nursing something that glowed purple and smelled like burning tires. Krell the Unbroken, former champion, current philosophical crisis. I do not understand your species, Krell said, his translator rendering his frustration perfectly. You are weak. Your bones break easily. Your skin tears like paper. Your lifespan is laughably short. Yet you defeated me. Jake sipped his whiskey, real Earth whiskey that cost more than a shuttle ticket. You keep saying that. Weak. But weak compared to what? Sure, we're not as strong as Vraxians. We're not as fast as Keltorians. We do not have exoskeletons or energy manipulation, or crystalline consciousness. But you know what we do have. What? Spite. Krell's mandibles clicked in confusion. Spite. Pure, unfiltered, concentrated spite. My entire species is fueled by it. Someone tells us we cannot do something, and we immediately want to prove them wrong. Someone says we are too weak, too slow, too fragile. We take that personally. We take it as a challenge. We take it as an invitation to ruin their entire day. This is not logical. Logic. Jake laughed, the sound bitter but genuine. Brother, we stopped being logical about 50,000 years ago. We're the species that looked at horses and decided to sit on them. We're the species that invented spicy food because regular food was boring. We're the species that went to our moon just to prove we could, then left flags and golf balls there because why not? Krell was silent for a long moment, processing this. You are insane. Completely, Jake agreed cheerfully. But we are effectively insane. That is the key difference. A group of Zephids at the next table was staring at them, whispering behind their hands. Or what passed for hands in their species. Jake ignored them. He had gotten used to the stares over the past 3 days. So what now? Krell asked. You have defeated the champion. You have proven your point. Do you return to Earth as a hero? Hero? Jake snorted. No, man. I'm just a guy who's good with a sword. Back home, there are people way more impressive than me. Scientists, doctors, teachers, and engineers. They're the real heroes. I just hit things with a pointy stick. You diminish your achievement. I put it in perspective. There's a difference. Krell leaned forward, his massive frame making the furniture groan. I have a question. A personal question. Shoot. When you offered me mercy, when you gave me the chance to yield, why did you do that? By the rules of the duel, you could have killed me. Many would have. It would have sent a stronger message to the galaxy. Jake set down his glass, his expression serious for the first time since Krell had arrived. Because killing you would have been easy. Letting you live, letting you walk away with your life, and maybe learn something? That was harder. And I've always believed that if you have a choice between easy and right, you should pick right. Even when it costs you. But you humiliated me. No, Jake corrected firmly. I defeated you. Big difference. Humiliation would have been dancing around you for an hour, making you look foolish. I ended it as quickly as possible. With respect. Because you're a warrior, and warriors deserve better than mockery. Krell's eyes, all 6 of them, studied Jake's face. Your species confuses me. We confuse ourselves most of the time. Join the club. The bar doors exploded inward. Not metaphorically. Literally exploded. Someone had blown the entrance apart with plasma charges, and through the smoke and debris stepped a figure that made Krell look small. A Titan-class warlord. 11 feet of chrome and muscle, enhanced with enough military-grade hardware to level a city block. His name was Drax, according to the bounty boards. Former special forces from the outer reaches. Current psychopath for hire. He was pointing a plasma cannon at Jake's table. You, Drax's voice boomed through external speakers. The human swordsman. You have made me lose significant credits. I had wagered everything on Krell's victory. Now you will compensate me with your life. The bar erupted into chaos. Patrons scrambled for exits, overturning tables, screaming in languages Jake did not recognize. Within seconds, only 3 beings remained. Jake, Krell, and the very angry cyborg are pointing a weapon at them. Jake sighed deeply. I cannot have one quiet drink. Not one. Is that too much to ask? Your complaints bore me, Drax said, charging the plasma cannon. The weapon began to whine, building energy. Die now, human. Jake did not move. Did not even stand up. He just looked at Drax with an expression of profound annoyance. Okay, first off, that's rude. Second, you just destroyed my favorite bar. Third, you interrupted my whiskey. And fourth, most importantly, you clearly have no idea what you have just done. I have sentenced you to death. No, Jake corrected. You have irritated me. And you have committed a tactical error that's about to ruin your whole week. What error? Jake pointed to his left. You threatened me in front of Krell. Drax's targeting system swiveled to look at the Vraxian, who had very slowly, very deliberately stood up to his full height. All 4 of Krell's arms were extended. His mandibles spread wide in a threat display that predated language. His eyes burned with something Jake had not seen during their duel. Rage. The human spared my life, Krell said quietly. He showed me mercy when he could have shown me death. He gave me honor when he could have given me humiliation. And now you, a common mercenary, dare to threaten him in my presence. Stand aside, Vraxian. This does not concern you. Incorrect. Krell's voice dropped to a growl that shook the floor. This concerns me deeply. You see, I owe the human a debt. And I am Vraxian. We always pay our debts. Drax made a mistake then. He laughed. It was the last sound he made for a while. Krell moved like an avalanche with purpose. His forearms grabbed Drax's plasma cannon, wrenched it aside, then systematically began dismantling the cyborg piece by piece. Chrome plating flew through the air. Hydraulic fluid sprayed across the walls. Drax's screams echoed through the station's corridors. Jake calmly picked up his whiskey glass, which had miraculously survived the explosion, and took another sip. Should we stop him? A security drone asked, hovering cautiously near the entrance. Nah, Jake said. Let him work through it. Therapy is expensive in space. 5 minutes later, Drax was unconscious, missing several expensive enhancements, and would require extensive repairs. Krell stood over him, breathing heavily but looking oddly satisfied. Thank you, Jake said. Did not need the help, but I appreciate the gesture. You are certain you did not need help? Jake patted the sword at his side. Pretty sure I could have handled it. But honestly, watching you work was way more entertaining. You have impressive anger management techniques. I was protecting someone I respect. That is not anger. That is duty. On Earth, we call that friendship. Krell's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. Friendship. I am unfamiliar with this concept between species. Well, it's pretty simple. Friends help each other. Friends have each other's backs. Friends occasionally beat up cyborgs together in dive bars. It's a whole thing. I see. Krell paused. Would you teach me more about humans? About your combat techniques? About this concept of friendship? Jake grinned. Sure, why not? But first, you're buying the next round. You destroyed my drink when you threw that chrome idiot through the table. Fair, Krell agreed. The security drones moved in to clean up the mess while Jake and Krell relocated to a different bar. This one had better locks on the doors and a strict weapons check policy. They found a corner booth designed for large species and settled in. So, Krell began, tell me about Earth. I wish to understand what creates warriors like you. Warriors like me? Jake shook his head. I'm not special, man. Earth has billions of people. Most of them are just trying to get through the day. Working jobs, raising kids, fixing broken things, creating beautiful things. We're not a warrior species. We're a survivor species. There's a difference. Explain this difference. Warriors seek battle. Survivors adapt to battle. Warriors train for conflict. Survivors train to endure. You were raised to be a champion, right? Trained from birth? Selected for physical superiority. Correct. On Earth, we do not do that. We raise kids to be whoever they want to be. Some become fighters. Some become artists. Some become scientists or teachers or chefs. I chose the sword because it felt right, not because someone told me I had to. And yet you defeated me. Because I wanted to, not because I needed to. That's the secret sauce. Human motivation is weird. We do things because we feel like it, because it interests us, because someone told us we could not. We are chaos wrapped in flesh, held together by coffee and bad decisions. Krell's translator struggled with several of those concepts. You are not instilling confidence in your species' stability. Good. We do not want to be underestimated again. Let the galaxy think we are crazy. Let them think we are unpredictable. Better that than being seen as weak. No one will make that mistake again, Krell assured him. Your victory has spread across all networks. Every species is reassessing humanity's threat level. Threat level, Jake muttered. We just wanted to be left alone. Explore space, meet new people, and exchange culture and technology. Instead, everyone kept testing us. Kept pushing to see how far they could go. Well, congratulations, Galaxy. You found out. And now? Now we're going to have a drink, swap stories, and maybe figure out how to prevent another idiot with a plasma cannon from interrupting our evening. Sound good? Krell made a sound that his translator rendered as laughter. Good. Yes. That sounds good. They talked for hours. Jake told stories about Earth. About oceans and mountains, about cities that never slept and forests older than most civilizations. About humans who climbed impossible peaks just to see the view, who dove into crushing depths just to explore, who launched themselves into space on controlled explosions just to touch the stars. Krell listened, fascinated. His species had conquered. Humans had wondered. His people had dominated. Humans had questioned. Two completely different approaches to existence, meeting in a shabby bar on a space station nobody cared about. "I have decided something," Krell announced as the station's artificial night cycle began. "I will petition the Alliance to establish formal relations with Earth. You deserve representation in our councils. We already have a representative. A diplomat, yes. But you need a warrior's voice as well. Someone who has proven strength. Someone the other species will respect. You volunteering? Perhaps. If your species would have me." Jake raised his glass. "Brother, anyone who throws cyborgs through furniture to protect my whiskey is welcome anytime. But fair warning, Earth is weird. We have cats. Millions of small predators that we keep in our homes because they are cute. We will confuse you daily. After meeting you, I suspect nothing about humanity will surprise me anymore." Famous last words, Jake said, clinking his glass against Krell's. Famous last words. They drank to new beginnings, to unlikely friendships, and to the absolute certainty that somewhere in the galaxy, someone else was probably making a very poor decision about challenging a human to a duel. Jake almost felt sorry for them. Almost. But not quite. Because sometimes, the galaxy needed to learn lessons the hard way. And humans? They were exceptional teachers when properly motivated. Outside the bar, Station Omega continued its eternal spin through the void. Ships came and went. Traders bartered. Diplomats negotiated. Life went on. But something had changed. Something fundamental. A small species from an unremarkable planet had proven that size did not equal strength, that evolution did not equal dominance, and that underestimating the crazy primates from Sol 3 was a really, really bad idea. No alien had ever lost a duel. Until one did. And nothing would ever be quite the same again. The end.